When the winds of winter start to blow, everything stops, my dear kids. Every man only looks out for them or their family. Winter may be beautiful, but believe me, it is not a good time. It is the hardest time. The winter will be suffering. Once all angels were summoned before the God. Angels wondered why God was summoning them all. God decided to send the angels down to the earth in the time of summer so that they could rejoice with the people. People could make their wishes true. People just needed to ask the angels of the God. They got what they wished for. It was so simple at that time. But God always said only one thing to the angels. Begin your return from the realm of man before the first winds of winter blow. Only then you could reach back to heaven. Look out for the cold chill in the air and start your journey before the first winds of winter. Don't try to get back after the first winds. You won't survive. Your wings won't take the frost in the air. You will lose your wings. They would break apart by the cold. They won't be growing back. You won't be able to return ever. That was God's only rule for the angels. And He wanted the angels to obey them. He said one last thing to the angels before they left. Disobedience has a huge price to pay. It is better to obey them always. And the God let angels down to the earth. In the time of summer, they rejoiced with us. They were for us, and we all cared for them the same as they did for us during the summer. The angels happily rejoiced all over the summer, and returned before the winds of winter blew. Little Elina asked her grandpa with curiosity, "Grandpa, did every angel return to heaven?" "No, my dear kid," Grandpa replied and continued. "A few angels forgot to return before the first winds of winter blew. They were carried away by the bliss of the mortal world. But when they realized that they had forgotten what God said and disobeyed Him, they rushed back to heaven in the time of harsh winter, but they never reached. Not one of them." "What happened?" Elina kept asking. "When they flew up into the skies, their wings were frosted up by the cold. Their wings teared up from them and they were fallen back to the ground. None did survive the fall. They were fallen down and condemned to hell." "So are there no more angels with us, Grandpa?" Elina asked. "Listen carefully. There are angels in this world, but they are not angels anymore. And they are not with us. Not every angel flew back to heaven during winter. Some thought that they could stay here with us. They were arrogant. But when the winter hits hard, all the angels were left alone. None of us aided them. None of us offered them food or shelter. All just look out for themselves only in the times of winter. They were left alone by us. And God too banished them from heaven. They fled from us. They were broken deep by the betrayal by the people. They fled from the villages. They fled into the dark forests. To get away from all. To die alone. But even death didn't give them hope. Even though they were starving and freezing up in the winter, they were not dying. They were just suffering. They were cursed to suffer to the end of time, but not to die. Death was a chance for them, and they never had it. They wandered through the forest to seek food and shelter, but they didn't find anything. They hold grudges against those who left them to die in the winter. They were losing their holiness. They were changing. They were changing into demons. They began to hunt in the forest. They hunted animals and ate them raw. They would settle under the caves for rest. And other times they'd just wander around to hunt and to eat. If you are alone in the woods, they would find and kill you for meat. In the woods, they are waiting for the right moment to strike. Those who are alone in the dark forest during the hardest winter have never come back. They are just waiting for their revenge. To who betrayed them? Many tried to hunt them down. They all had strong faith when they left for the dark forest, but none had come back to show that they still had the faith. They were all lost in the dark forest. So kids, don't go into the dark forest. Never go into the dark forest. It is no place for any men. It belongs to the wild and evil. Elina could only remember the story her grandpa told her a long time before while freezing in the dark forest alone. She was stranded in the forest, broken apart from her friends. She was afraid. She feared the evil lies in the forest. The angels were turned into demons. She stood still under the big tree. She was waiting for someone would help her. She occasionally shouted out for help. She kept screaming for many minutes, but now she is being quiet as she can. She only thought later that her screams for help could have been heard by the demons too. She is always looking around to find someone, some of their friends. But she couldn't. The thing that made her afraid was the silence. It was all silent. No chirping of birds or smooth breeze, there was nothing. It was all quiet. But now she could hear something. She could hear the noise. The snapping of twigs. The noise is getting closer and closer. Now she could hear that the rhythm of the snapping of twigs gets intensified. It is approaching fast from many directions. She is freaking out. She doesn't know what to do. She faced the one direction where she couldn't hear the noise. She ran in that direction. She kept running as fast as she could. She is running and the noise is still behind her, but it seems to be away. So she slows down and tries to look back. She could see creatures closing onto her. But all of a sudden she falls into a trench, and she rolls down the slope and settles into the trench. She couldn't get up. But she now could hear the noises and roaring quite clearly as it was very close to her. Her fear intensifies. All of a sudden, everything stopped. Just in a snap of time, all back to the silence. And she just closes her eyes. She couldn't keep it open. She is feeling lousy. She just falls into that pain. She is trying to open her eyes. While trying, she could see a blurred image of something coming to her. It feels like a man. It could be her friend. She is quite relaxed after seeing that blurred image of a man. That man took her into his arms, and she just fell asleep in that arms. Elina feeling warmer now. It feels like home. She is opening her eyes, but she was terrified. She was not home. She was in a cave. The demons have taken her. She realized that it was no man she saw, it was a demon. She jumps out of her bed. She wondered what demon would have a bed under a cave. And there was a fire too that kept the cave warmer. She tries to rush out of the cave, but someone called out, "Hey, where are you going?" She turned back. It was no demon. It was the man who rescued her. He was standing in the shadows. Az came closer. His face had too many bruises. They seemed to be old, but they are not healed. That man had a bright blue eyes. He was shivering even though he had a jacket with him. He just kept shivering. "You can't go out there now. Not during the night. You can leave at the dawn. That is safer," the man said. Elina too felt that reasonable. It was so darker out there. She asked the man, "Who are you?" The man replied, I am the one of the angels who are condemned to suffer here by the All-Father. Oh, the angels who didn't obey, Elina said. But aren't you demons? That is what my grandpa told me. You all changed to demons. Elina still kept a fair distance between the man. Just in case. What if he is a demon after all? What the angel questioned out in wonder. I am no demon. I am still an angel with no wings. An angel who is paying for his mistakes. But my grandpa said. Elina felt confused. Well, I am not a demon. But most of us turned out to be demons. And they are out there hungering for revenge to whom they cheated and left them alone. But you didn't. Why is that? Elina kept asking. That's a long story, the angel said. Oh, I love long stories. My grandpa always used to say stories about the angels who were sent here. You can say your story. Elina became more influenced by the angel. Well, Angel began his story. I was a lazy fellow up in heaven. I did obey my father, but I was very late always. So was I when I was sent down to earth. I came here very late. And you can't on to a place where there is already an angel. Everywhere I went, there was an angel already. So at first, I wandered a lot. But at last, I found a farmer's house. No one came there, so I was happy. I rejoiced with them. They gave me a pleasant welcome with what they had. I was with them all the summer, and I never wanted to go back. I even asked the farmer if I could stay there for the winter. But he told me that he was very sorry that he only stored the food for himself and his family. So he told me already that you can't stay. He wished me to stay, but they couldn't. Let me ask something. You were an angel, you just needed to make more food, that's all you needed. You could have stayed, Elina interrupted. I was an angel, not a magician. Who said that angels could make whatever they needed? The angel asked. My grandpa said me that, Elina replied. Your grandpas just exaggerate everything too much. We could only wish them good fortunes and give them blessings, so it was almost the end of summer, and I was just carried away with the family, with their happiness. I was late again, but I thought I could rush back. But I saw the angels falling to earth. I was terrified. I don't know what to do. I couldn't stay with the farmer. That would make the family suffer. So I rushed to others. But no one was there. I was all alone. I rushed into the forest as other angels did. I suffered for long. I even saw my friends changing into demons. All I could do was watch. Then I ran away from them. And I kept running for long. This cave sheltered me. And I survived this long. You asked, why didn't I change? Turning evil is not the only way. It is our choices that make and keep us good and evil. Our choices. Even now I thank that farmer, because he taught me how to farm. Not just farming, he taught me how to light a fire and many such things so that I could do them in heaven. But here I am, a farmer who was an angel trapped here. Well, it is time for supper. He invited Elina to the supper. He had good vegetable soup, and Elina enjoyed it. Then after supper, he let her use his bed, and told her she needed to leave at dawn. Hey, who were that attacked me? Elina asked. They were the demons, he said. Have your sleep, no more questions. At dawn, Angel woke up Elina and showed her the way home from the cave. And she said goodbye and left. Elina never wanted to leave. She really enjoyed last night very much. She then realized that she had even forgotten to say a word of gratitude to the angel for saving her. She kept thinking about the angel. As she moves through the forest, she felt that someone was following her. They were the demons. She could see them. She ran as fast as she could. But at last, they surrounded her. They were pure evil. Rotting meat was lying down on their faces, and they were in great hunger. It was the end. They came close to her. But the angel came. And he fought against the demons. He stood for her. It was a valiant fight. The demons were many. But still, he fought. The angel was hurt so badly, and he bled. But that didn't stop the angel. He kept fighting until all the demons flee. It was a great fight. But still, the angel was strong. Elina was worried about the angel. Of his wounds, they were so bad. Hey, don't worry. I am not gonna die. I am cursed not to die. Just added up some wounds and more pain, that's all. The angel told Elina. He then leads her back to home. He protected her. They are almost home. While getting closer, Elina asked the angel, "How did you know that I was in danger before? Anyway, thanks for what you did." Elina then saw her family and friends waiting for her. So she rushed to them fast. She was excited to get home and didn't wait for the angel to reply and asked the angel to come with her. So the angel began to run to catch up with Elina. After a long time, the angel is returning to the people. But as he runs, he is getting weaker and weaker. It is like losing all his strength. He falls to the ground, and he lies up looking up at the Father. It was like dying. He was dying. The pain intensified. It was all getting black in his eyes. All of a sudden, the voice asked the angel, "Why did you come back for her?" It was the Father. "I don't know, Father." The angel replied with great peace and joy that Father had called up him after a long time. He continued, "When she left, I felt that she was alone and I should go with her, but changed my mind after that. But later I could hear her seeking me as a companion. So I came. For her. To be with her for always." Elina couldn't find Angel at her back, but she told the story to everyone. Not the story, but what happened. But no one believed that. No one did, not even her grandpa. Elina kept thinking about Angel. She was obsessed with him. Something might have happened to the angel, she thought. All of a sudden he came. The angel. He was now an angel, with big, strong wings. Wings which were white as snow. Elina was so happy to see him. She asked, "What happened?" The angel replied, "God took me back to heaven." Wow, that is nice. How does heaven look like? I always wanted to know, Elina asked. Actually, I didn't get back to heaven. I was given a job to do, the angel replied. What job, Angel? Elina asked out curiously. The angel replied, to be your guardian angel.